I'm making an auto battler and recently decided to remake the whole game from scratch, for the second time. But this time I'll be using Bevy, a great Rust game engine in active development. I fell in love with it quite quick after getting to know it just a little bit. I've always liked to create my own systems for everything, and Bevy fits that perfectly with its very modular design. And since I've already started using entity component system during my first rewrite, Bevy is an obvious way forward because its ECS is one of the coolest and easiest to work with. Don't know about you, but I just love starting a fresh project, when there are zero legacy and only dreams over the beautiful code base I could have when all the systems are done. How I will have most readable and easiest to comprehend code that also has zero bugs because of good architecture from the very start. Of course, my dreams will eventually be crushed by reality, but I gotta shoot for the stars, right? Mostly it's just nice to write new code without minding all the other stuff that you've written before, and it's nice to come up with architecture decisions when I already tried all the designs and found some flaws. I think that's the only way to make a code base that is easy to work with and easy to extend. Because if you pivot your game idea, it's hard to perfectly adjust all the systems. At some point it will require compromises, which lead to suboptimal decisions and code that doesn't make the most amount of sense. Anyway, I couldn't hold myself and just started rewriting everything. Guess I wanted to find out as soon as possible that I can remake everything with Bevy, that I won't have to compromise on functionality and ease of development. And after some time I had a good configurable rendering system, and I've messed around with eGUI to learn that it actually is really cool and easy to use. I've made this login screen really quick. It's also cool that the default design is quite up my alley, so I don't really have to change much, at least for now. So anyway, I've done a rendering system and some stuff for loading assets and whatever. And for the past week I was going forward with the development and working on the gameplay side of things. I made a goal to run a simplest battle in the game. On the first day I've started slow. I wanted to do a short stream at first, so I worked a bit of initial systems for gameplay logic. To implement all of the varieties of hero abilities I need some kind of effect system. Any actions that a unit can do is an effect. This is sort of main gameplay interface that any game's unit can use in their configs to act. For processing I need to organize effects into a queue. I call it action queue. I've also implemented some animations for hero striking. That wasn't hard since I've already had a base for animating stuff in the game. On the second day I was almost ready to run the simplest battle where heroes don't have any abilities and can just hit and damage each other. It took a bit longer since I needed to implement death. Now you might think that adding a death mechanic to the game is easy. You just check if HP is less than 0 and if so, remove the entity. And usually that's true. But not in my case. In my game I want to support rewinding the gameplay just like a cassette tape, so I can't just remove a unit, since I need to be able to rewind its death back and see it live again. In ECS it makes sense to have a marker component, unit and corpse. I replace one with the other and later I can even revive a corpse really easy. It took some time, but at the end of the day I had a working running battle between two teams. I even started working on my animation assets. On the third day I continued to work on my animation assets. I basically needed a way to describe animations in your own config file. It's kinda hard to make it configurable and easy to read at the same time, but I like my current design. This also allowed me to describe striking animation in the file, adjusting it in runtime. Finally, I wanted to finish a base for all the gameplay stuff, which consists of statuses, triggers and events. Basically, all interactions in the game can be made using only these systems. Any unit can have a trigger that, in case of some event, will use a specific effect, and this can easily be chained to create a very complex interactions. For example, a hero can be healed right after taking damage. Some other hero could get +1 attack if any other hero is healed. You get the idea. Next day I began to work on the second half of the gameplay loop, the shop. I started to dig deeper into eGUI and already I felt how much time I saved by not making my own damn UI system. It's so simple to get a working interface with eGUI, all the elements I need are just there, they look cool, and with immediate mode I don't have to think too much about organizing stuff. I just put everything into an update system and call it a day. So I managed to display some UI on hero hovering and initial shop screen where you can see and buy some heroes. Also I did some work with serialization and stuff. The next day I wanted to finish the shop, which would be a great progress for just 1 week. I actually was surprised how quickly things come together when I use some libraries and assets. Who would have thought? So on the last day I was finishing and polishing the shop, adding features like reroll, money, and made the shop sell statuses to boost player team without buying new heroes. I tried making UI a bit prettier and stitched everything together so now player can buy heroes and send the team into battle. With that, the game is basically playable. We have a nice base to start adding content and extending all the system that we already have. Thank you for watching. I will keep working on the game on Twitch and post devlogs with my progress here. Stay tuned and have a good one.